All those things, those small, little, daily actions, those small things that contribute, I would hope, in ultimate to arriving at your goal, to arriving at the goal that I'm seeking at least. I managed to do them even though they don't feel too good. I'm constantly beating up against existential sort of dread, against the opportunity cost of being where I am compared to where I want to be. The dread of losing out on time, on not having maximized what I think is my potential. And you know what? Despite all that, I still have faith, I guess. I have faith in something that I think will represent, that I think will lead me to a higher and better self. So I'm glad I was still able to take these small actions towards that. Despite how I feel, despite not feeling my best self, despite being concerned about my aesthetic self, and so on. Yeah, keep pushing. Just keep pushing. That feeling of dread, it really does. It has to crush everything else. It has to overcome you. I think it has to be greater than anything that might motivate inertia. It has to be so heavy on your damn mind. And you have to be careful with it though. It's not too, because it can lead to serious cynicism and nihilism. And sometimes I struggle with that, where, because you're so focused on the end result of whatever it is, you just look at your current situation and constantly keep assessing how far you are, and then that dread creeps in, and instead of motivating you, it can also lead to inertia, complacency, where you just give up and grow comfortable and quote unquote accept. Well, this is, and I principally abide by, it is what it is. I think it's a core tenet, and it's one that makes you strong and dangerous. I like that one because it teaches acceptance of the highest order. You have no leverage against people who truly believe that. But that being said, accepting this dread as it is what it is, well, I suppose it can go two ways. Either you accept it because it is in fact what it is. It's the reality of your life, your circumstances. Either you accept it and use that as a point of, wow, I'm so far away from what I actually think I deserve, from my high self, from where I want to be. I'm so far away from that I really need to do a little something at least to bring me a little bit closer to that. Maybe I'm not going to be there today, tomorrow, and perhaps it's a little bit unclear when, but at least I made a bit of an effort today that brought me slightly closer to that person I want to be. That's the way to transmute this energy into something that over time, with grace and blessing from the highest divine, creates movement, a flow towards your actual highest self. It can beat you down if you let it, but that's the power of human will, of training your will. That even in the face of nihilism and cynicism and crippling negativity or anxiety, because no matter what, wherever you are, whatever age you are, the mind will always find ways to create dread, anxiety, nihilism, fear, complacency, inertia. Always. Like when you're too young, you're not confident enough, then there's fears about that. Again, leads to inertia. When you're too old, you think you're too old. Maybe you feel like you don't have that same vigor that you did when you were younger. And again, that creates inertia. So the mind's going to always do what it does. If you've trained your mind to do that, it actually becomes very good at doing that. Unfortunately, I think a lot of us have. And it's important to identify when this is happening, articulate it, catch the bastard, and decapitate it. Stop it in its tracks. Because it's these kind of thoughts that leads to inertia, or it leads to confusion. It leads to a lack of clarity, a lack of focus. It's important to build these tools. Just one small daily step at a time. Baby steps lead to a great distance. Because as you travel down the path, you also grow along the way. And guess what? Your strides, your footsteps, they get longer.